Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for being with us today. And it's such a somber day. We all are thinking about the precious families in Uvalde, Texas. Ms. Montecalvo, I want to come to you on the issue of voter ID. Tennessee and Rhode Island are like a majority of states and require voters to present a valid photo ID in order to vote. So, 2011, you were a board member for Common Cause, and they stood in opposition to voter ID. So I'd like to know if you share your organization's opposition to voter ID.
Thank you, Senator, for that question. If I were confirmed to this position, I would follow Supreme Court precedent on the issue of voter ID. And our Supreme Court has said that voter identification is constitutional and is legal in some circumstances. And you're right, Rhode Island has...
Okay, talk to me then what circumstances do you think it is okay, and what circumstances do you think it is not? Do you think having to show voter ID is racist?
Thank you, Senator. If confirmed to this position, I will follow Supreme Court precedent.
Okay, in other words, you don't want to answer me. Let me ask you about cash bail, because you are in favor of ending cash bail. Is that correct?
Senator, I follow the rules of the legal system where I practice. In Rhode Island, there is no cash bail.
Okay, well, let me use this as an example. Police in New York arrested a man for a random and unprovoked murder aboard a subway train last weekend. And the offender was previously arrested for assault, robbery, menacing, and grand larceny, in addition to 3 other cases that are still pending. He was also previously convicted of attempted murder. He was arrested on April 22nd for stealing a motorcycle, but the judge set a nominal bail of $1, rejecting the prosecutor's request for a $15,000 bail. So if the judge had set bail consistent with this offender's demonstrated record of violence, he might have prevented the senseless murder last weekend. So how can you justify your opposition to cash bail in light of the clear preventative effect cash bail has on keeping violent offenders off our streets?
Thank you, Senator. And I'm not familiar with that case that you just gave as an example. What I will say is I suspect that bail determinations are...
No, I'm asking you, are you for eliminating cash bail, yes or no?
Senator, I don't have a position on cash bail. It's not something...
You don't have a position on cash bail, and you don't have a position on voter ID, correct?
My position on voter ID and on all bail determinations, if I were confirmed, is that I will follow the law.
All right. Ms. Merriam, what is your approach to constitutional interpretation of the law?
Thank you, Senator. Every inquiry begins with the text. And so if I'm presented with a question that involves a constitutional provision, usually an amendment, I first read carefully the text of that provision and then turn to Supreme Court precedent and Second Circuit precedent. To date, frankly, I think that's been sufficient in my 7+ years on the bench to solve the problem. And I don't think I've ever had to go any further than that, although With very specific issues, you sometimes find that around the country, other trial courts have spoken helpfully on fact patterns very close to yours. But generally, by starting with the text and going through the binding precedent, I'm able to reach a conclusion.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Senator Blackburn. Senator Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judge Merriam, I'd like to start with